Good morning and welcome to the last hour of our Mornings on the Hill. I'm Angelica Rodriguez.
And I'm Jackie Mundry, but don't worry, we'll be back next semester. Thanks for waking up with us. Here are this morning's top stories. Refugees looking for a better life and are worried about the U.S. immigration policy are heading north. Our Bridget Chavez takes us to the Canadian border to show you their stories.
Who is the new Hendrix Dean and what are his plans once he takes over this summer? We have that story.
It's a taste of home for one Central New York high school student. She has traveled far to make her new home here in Syracuse. We have her inspiring story. That and more coming up on Mornings on the Hill.
Our top story this morning, as the end of the semester approaches, the university is honoring the students' accomplishments.
The One University Awards were held for the first time at Hendrix Chapel last night. While many of the awards given out were not new, the awards ceremony at Hendrix is. One of the biggest honors was the Chancellor's Citation, which celebrates achievement in teaching and scholarship. 8 people were awarded the citation.
Like a friend of mine said, it's like the icing on top of the cake because I love doing research and to be recognized by the Chancellor for it is actually great.
The Chancellor's Medal, which was presented to Samuel and Caroline Clemense for their service benefiting Hendrix Chapel. When you travel to another country, you usually pass through customs.
But our Bridget Chavez traveled to the border and she joins us live in the studio to explain how some of the people are getting to Canada in a different way.
Travis McLean knew he'd face some challenges when he took on this new job, but he never expected this.
In one night, I've taken 4 people all together. You know, like they were separate, but I've taken them all at one time. Like 4 people in one night. And
for more than 20 years, Tony Hogle had a pretty quiet life. But lately,
Oh Christ! Last night I was up at 3 in the morning sitting here, and 3 cars went by, dropped them off.
a 24-mile cab ride for $100 and an extra $50 for each additional passenger.
and whole families at a time go up there.
Where exactly are they all going?
So I had to go to the Roxham Road.
Which leads to Canada.
And now everyone knows where to go. You take a taxi to Roxham Road.
I call this the Yellow Brick Road.
Motel worker Denise QC Longier has seen it all, and all they leave behind.
Like they leave their bicycle here, or all of their luggage, or car seats, or anything like that.
One family, they couldn't carry everything they had, so they left a car seat, stroller, and a bag of luggage.
Some walk from the end, some get out dropped off right here across the road, and some go right up to the end and get dropped off.
We have to call the U.S. border and let them know we're coming.
Amir Friedman grew up on the Canadian side of Roxham. He says he's never seen anything like this.
We were sitting there in 6 hours, several immigration vans with blacked out windows with van loads of people.
Anyone who has already claimed asylum in the States cannot also apply in Canada.
They just want to get the hell out,
But there's a loophole.
Like if you make it here, then right away you're given the opportunity to claim.
This is the exact spot where refugees are crossing over the border. Now, as soon as they pass these rocks, they're in Canada.
Walking right into the hands of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
They know that they're going to be picked up because they know that they have to be picked up in order to go through the whole legal process.
That was Amir's mom, Maurice Dodard. She says people have been crossing for years. She's even helped a few.
I think it was illegal what I did because now that I think of it, because apparently you're supposed to call the RCMP or immigration, but I wasn't really thinking about that. To me, it was just a humanitarian act. There are people that are cold, they've crossed the border.
But since November,
It's like a 24-hour operation because they're just coming in droves. They're all freaked out about the new Trump administration. And this is like a safe haven.
Canada has accepted more than 40,000 refugees since 2015. But not all are coming through Roxham Road. The Zeds are originally from Damascus and have resettled here in Mississauga.
With my first step in Canada, I was surprised with Canadian people. They were extremely kind.
Amar and his family are getting help from locals Bruce and Veronica McDonald for 1 year.
We're probably, bleeding hearts a little bit, but to do this was something that just felt right, and it needed to be done. You need to do something to welcome refugees.
The McDonalds are responsible for helping the Zeds with basic expenses for 1 year.
We definitely committed for 12 months, but we knew that as soon as we met them, we decided, I think it was really no choice. It's like we're going to be there for whatever they need beyond.
Good. And the fact that this is such a crisis where people who are also just living their own lives, living in their own world, were displaced and are in need now. Like, we need to do something more. So it's the least I can do.
You want to go see Mickey? Do you want to go see him? Okay.
They say it's worth it.
It's really about being open to each other. Like, they're just so open and curious. They don't have preconceptions about this will be hard or this will be easy. This is just their life right now.
Yes, you did.
Finding plenty in common amidst their differences.
This is really just about human beings and how we get along and how we can help each other. It really is that simple.
Like, we're just with them, and it doesn't feel like we're doing for them because we get so much back.
It's more than doing the right thing.
It's the same way, I think, that people probably reacted to slaves during the time of Harriet Tubman, when slaves were coming through. I mean, how do you respond to another human being?
No matter where or who you are.
That we've got a role to play. We don't just have to sit back and watch. We don't have to feel helpless. We can actually do something.
You do have a role to play.
I spoke with Bruce, and he says the kids are adjusting well to their new lives, and their father is in the process of finding work in Mississauga. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Bridget Chavez. Back to you, Jackie and Angelica.
Thank you. Well, hopefully yesterday's showers are long gone this morning.
Let's check in with Mornings on the Hill's weather reporter Annalisa Pardo for the latest forecast. Annalisa?
Hey, Jackie and Angelica. Well, you guys are in luck because yesterday's showers are gone for all of today and for most of the rest of this week. Today it's about 58 degrees out right now, and it should warm up to 68 degrees later today. The clouds are already starting to clear out a little bit, but still expect partly cloudy skies for the rest of the day. But it definitely is starting to feel like summer vacation, and now we'll continue on to the next 5 days of the forecast. So Thursday, we're seeing a temperature of 83 degrees. And then Friday, it's good news for everyone participating in Mayfest, as it will be 71 degrees, and we won't expect any showers until later that night. Then heading into your weekend, the temperatures will slip back into the 60s. Saturday, we'll see a high of 66 degrees, and there is a little chance of rain, so it wouldn't hurt to bring a rain jacket. And then heading into Sunday, we'll have a high of 68 degrees, and we can expect to see some showers later that night. Other than that, we'll just expect to see some cloudy skies for the rest of the days. I'm Annalisa Pardo reporting for Mornings on the Hill. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Annalisa. More campus news. Hendrick Chapel is getting a new dean.
Chancellor Kent Syverud announced Reverend Dr. Brian Conkle as the new dean late last week. Conkle's appointment comes nearly 2 years after Dean Tiffany Steinwart left Hendricks Chapel. Conkle comes from Gustavus Adolphus College in Minnesota and will start at SU in early July. Before then, he told Mornings on the Hill that he'll travel to Syracuse to better understand Hendricks Chapel's role at the university.
Conkle says he's most looking forward to finding ways to expand the chapel's presence on campus. And it is really common for people to choose one career and then to switch after a while.
One Syracuse man did just that, but it might not be what most would expect. Mornings on the Hill's Lauren Sinatra has the story.
There are many people who decide to serve our country.
Attention!
Martin Boatwright is just one of them.
I enjoy serving our country. I took pride in it, but I was a leader in helping others.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And now 6 years later, he has chosen to become a leader in a different way.
We build a community so we could work with each other and help each other.
He now dedicates his time to teaching students.
It doesn't matter what kid walked through this door. We believe every kid have a chance for success. Every kid is somebody. They are somebody.
24 little first graders who Martin believes are somebodies. Well, here are just 2 of them.
IZYK. CONNER. Do you want me to write on a piece of paper?
Now, you might be wondering the same question I was.
Why first grade?
I truly believe that just like a flower or plant, it starts from the root. It will not grow without roots.
And while he teaches 24 precious flowers, most of them are having trouble growing in their environment.
They lack so much confidence because they don't have that positive reinforcement around them.
I don't have a dad. I'm like the only boy in the house. He went to jail. He broke my mom's nose.
These children and many of the soldiers Martin shaped earlier in his career come from similar situations, one of them being these streets right here where he grew up.
Reaching out to kids is not about teaching, it's really about caring.
One method Martin uses is quite unique. He has chosen to teach his students yoga and meditation.
And I always tell them, if you can control your body, you can control your mind.
And out.
When they're feeling frustrated or when they're feeling angry, it's teaching them strategies that they can use to relax.
And while that might be the purpose, these are first graders, and some see the activity a little bit different.
We can exercise and get strong like me.
You are very strong.
I've been working out.
Another important lesson Martin teaches is community building and positive relationships. He calls them toodles.
So it shows you how much them care about you. Yes, Savannah, thank you for sharing with your friends.
All right, good job. It doesn't take money to tell somebody I love you.
I love you.
It doesn't take money to tell somebody I care. It doesn't take money to tell somebody that you can do it.
Activities aside, Martin teaches much more than just reading and spelling.
I'm going to teach you how to respect others. Personal space. I'm going to teach you how to believe in yourself and have confidence in yourself.
Because military lessons about respect and community are woven into the classroom, some students have dreams of the future that mean something very significant.
A police officer.
All right.
Because if I'm a police officer, I can protect my mom.
Then, on the other hand, some students are not quite ready for the police force or the military, but maybe something similar.
I can't wait to go to second grade where we can go into Cub Scouts.
And as Martin teaches his students these life lessons, he realizes that they are also teaching him along the way.
I cannot have a relationship with anybody else without trying to lift them up. As my joy comes from their joy. My laughter actually comes from their laughter.
We are all a sum of our life experiences, and one man in one corner of the universe is proof that changes can and will happen, but our experiences allow us to face those changes head on. Reporting in Syracuse, I'm Lauren Sinatra.
This is absolutely the type of stories that change and make a difference in the community, Jackie.
They're definitely cute kids, but coming up, for most of us, trips to the dentist don't always make us smile. But a special Syracuse clinic have one man coming back.
In our nation news, one organization at the Syracuse Law School is holding a panel discussion about education on the community on recent events about Aleppo. The Syrian Accountability Project is hosting the discussion, which will take place tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon in the Joyce Hegerhan Auditorium.
The event will include an information session and discussions surrounding key crimes that happened during the siege of Aleppo. It will also offer insight on what people can expect will happen to the city and how it impacts them. The event is free and open to all students, faculty, and staff.
It's tough to smile through our struggles, but one man's story shows us nothing is impossible.
He came to America and started 7th grade, the first time he had ever gone to school. He's come a long way. Mornings on the Hills, Mariana Dominguez has the story.
Okay.
Many of us want to leave the dentist with a brighter smile. It wasn't always easy for this volunteer dental assistant to find his. Civil war in Sudan forced Akech to leave his home and most of his family behind.
Coming here to America was tough. Coming here to raise myself alone when you don't have parents was a huge step for me.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Did she recognize you?
Nope. This picture can tell no matter what you're going through, you can still find happiness.
He found that happiness when he was a patient at a Syracuse free dental clinic, Emmaus.
You have time today? We can do it today if you like.
They can't afford health insurance and they don't have jobs. So like, I'm one of them, and I used to be one of them. I used to be a student, don't have insurance.
I told you I was a wimp. I didn't like to hurt anybody, so I try to picture myself being in that chair too, you know.
People here are compassionate.
And no matter where life takes him,
Ready for action.
this patient turned volunteer says he'll always come back.
It's gonna be my home.
A smile is a reflection of what is in a person's heart as well.
Dr. Robert Fangio was the first dentist to treat Akech.
There's so much that we have to be worried about and anxious in this world. And then to bring that smile to a patient, and I don't mean just the smile that comes from, fixing that front tooth. I mean the smile that comes from within, that I have been loved.
I want to share my experience and how I started coming here to U.S.
We brought him back to talk to students who share similar experiences at his old high school.
I came here in 2006 from Sudan. Barely know any English, okay? Anything is not an excuse, okay? Excuse is not an option.
Now a Lemoyne grad, he wants to be a physician assistant, but he's had tough roadblocks while he was still in college.
My brother and my sister, they were taking care of my mother. So when they both passed away, I have to take care of their kids and my mother at the same time.
And you somehow always seem to find that smile. You know? How do you do that, Akech?
Seeing someone else smile back. And sometimes you smile at somebody, they will smile back at you. That just signal that we are in peace and I'm happy and you're happy.
It's on the mandible.
Yeah, switch. That's why I was confused.
But I'm sure that young man has plenty of reason to be fearful, to be skeptical, and yet you don't see that in him. You just see the joy and you see the ambition and you see the desire.
It's a willpower. If I have enough, enough power one day in terms of like money and things like that to start like many clinics like this, I would definitely do that. Not only here, but back home.
A challenge that might seem familiar. Do we stay and help the family we created here, or do we help the one we left behind? The answer isn't always so clear, but it's what pushes many of us forward. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Mariana Dominguez.
Another powerful story about people getting inspired and working for the community.
Definitely not. I don't like the dentist, but I might want to go to that one.
Well, as the academic school year comes to a close, many high school students anxiously await to find out what college they'll be attending.
But for one Syracuse high school student, the journey it took to make it to high school was enough in itself. Our reporter Jackie Prager has the story.
Who am I?
Madeline Kujabi is a Gambian dish made up of a lot of ingredients.
My mother is very ambitious as I am, so she taught me how to cook everything by the time I was in 2nd grade.
At age 7, she learned how to cook for her family, while her mother worked and dreamed of a better life for her child. She sent Madeline 4,000 miles away, from the east coast of Africa to Syracuse, through an international organization called Starfish. She now lives with Fran and Joe Greenman, and she quickly added spice to their lives.
Is there any spice in it? She says, just a little, then I know it's spicy.
This traditional stew called benachin can melt teeth.
Oh, it's hot.
But the warmth of her dish gives her memories to savor.
The smells, the taste, I've been trying to find the right spices to get my mother's taste in food.
She wants to make a difference in her new world.
Makes me really happy to bring cultures together through food. I mean, as much as there are differences between us, those differences need to be celebrated. There's very little, if anything, that divides us or should divide us.
Greenman family photos surround Madeline, but she wasn't able to bring any photos of her family with her. So she has to keep her memories close another way.
So every time I feel like I am losing myself, I think about who I am, and that led me to write a poem. I think I know myself, but I am still discovering who Madeline is. I am an individual with high self-esteem. I have a strong sense of my rights and needs, as well as my obligations.
She must write not only for herself, but for those back in Gambia who helped raise her.
Like, we are called the smiling coast of Africa because we are such a peaceful country. And my favorite thing about the Gambia is that the whole community raises a child.
Her success is their dream too.
For people back home, I hope that they could look at me and say, yes, she did it.
Madeline worked tirelessly to find her way, but her life was turned upside down once again by what she found one day in her mailbox.
She got accepted to college.
Oh my goodness, I could not believe it. I had to read it myself 3 times. We sent a message to my mother back home. Oh my goodness, it was an amazing feeling. It was like, I did it.
She dreams of becoming a translator in Southeast Asia, but first she's going back home to Gambia to thank the community who raised her.
After I finished college, I am going back to my community to give back.
Madeline's life may not be a fairy tale, but this year she got to be part of one when she performed in her high school spring play, Cinderella. As the clock strikes midnight and Madeline heads off to college, she doesn't need a fairy godmother. She writes.
And that's all we have for today. I'm Angelica Rodriguez.
And I'm Jackie Mundry. Stick around for the next half hour.
Good morning, Syracuse. Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill. I'm Jamie Weiss.
And I'm Mariana Dominguez. Thanks for sticking with us this morning. Here are the top stories for this half hour. She's a Syracuse alum who helped break gender barriers in the Boston Marathon. Now she's back on campus inspiring women entrepreneurs.
Another SU grad is giving new meaning to the phrase staying positive. This morning we have this cancer survivor's inspiring story.
And play ball, the Syracuse Chiefs are on a win streak. We'll take you out to a game. Those stories and more coming up on Mornings on the Hill.
Our top story this half hour, encouraging Central New York women as business leaders.
More than 300 women gathered yesterday in Syracuse to hear advice on how to begin their journey as entrepreneurs. At the Y Symposium, which stands for Women Igniting the Spirit of Entrepreneurship, the attendees heard from Catherine Switzer, an SU alum who 50 years ago was the first woman to run the Boston Marathon. She ran it again just last week. Switzer shared her secrets for success.
I would say there are 3 really important things. One is be persistent and never give up. The second thing is look for sources of inspiration in unlikely places. Sometimes the worst things in your life can become the best things in your life, simply because if something bad exists, it needs fixing, all right? And the third thing is realize you're better than you think you are.
The Y Center was established in 2003, and last year the staff says they helped 125 women develop their own business. In other news this morning, we know Destiny USA is one of Syracuse's most popular destinations.
But just outside of it, a group of homeless men and women struggle to get by.
Mornings on the Hill reporter John Cercio introduces us to a different kind of life on a street corner right outside one of the biggest malls in America.
People come from all over the region to check out Destiny USA in Syracuse. It's not hard to find. The transportation center is right across the street. Halfway between Destiny and a way out, some people find themselves stuck on a street corner, begging for money and food, just hoping to get by.
God bless you. Thank you.
Dan is a former auto repairman and UPS employee. What'd you get there?
Pop-Tarts, but I don't know what kind of flavor they are. They're all still good anyways to eat.
Dan has to watch his sodium these days, but Pop-Tarts are a different story. He isn't the only one who appreciates sweet things like that.
I have a really bad sweet tooth. I use 15 sugars in the little packets. There really is not a lot of sugar in them packets.
Michelle has been on the streets for years now.
I've gotten a $20 bill today so far, which was really nice, yeah.
But Michelle and Dan know that out here, sweet can turn bitter in a heartbeat. They should know. They share the same corner. Normally, grabbing a lucrative spot like this one near Destiny could be dangerous and cutthroat. But Dan and Michelle take turns and show each other respect, something that's in short supply out here.
See, now, if you weren't here, none of these people would even look my way.
The former nurse at the Loretto Senior Home in town used to spend her days cheering up and assisting the residents there.
I just tell them I'm homeless, not contagious, you know.
Now disabled and out of work, she's the one in need of help and encouragement. But compassion these days to Michelle seems like a thought that's left her little corner of town.
Had a few people give me something to eat because I've been, at least I could eat then.
In a cruel twist of fate for the former mechanic, Dan's lack of reliable transportation forced him out of a job and has him stuck right next to the transportation center.
Everybody comes down here tries to make a living and do what they can to survive.
But out here, survival isn't a given.
Because falling asleep out here on the streets, anybody can come up to you and do just about anything. I can't fight back. I could be dead.
Michelle recalls a time when she took a nap in the park. When she woke up, someone had taken her shoes. And that wasn't even her worst wake-up call.
There was one man named Steve who robbed me.
Michelle said she had been sleeping on the streets in the summertime and had her money in her front pocket. When she woke up, it was gone.
And I had saved up $300, and he robbed me of that $300. And I had every intention of using that as a down payment on, a little efficiency or something. And he took that away from me. He robbed me of that, And that was so heartbreaking.
About 6 months ago, Michelle finally caught a break. She ran into a couple of old friends who allowed her to stay with them until she could get back on her feet. She even helps them out once in a while with extra food. It's a lesson Dan picked up as well.
If I got something extra, like somebody gives me extra food, I got more than I can take, I'll ask them if they want it. I'll look out for somebody like that.
Though Dan hasn't gotten quite the break that Michelle has, he does have someone looking out for him as well.
I do have a friend that holds, if I do make some money, I do have a friend that holds on to it for me. She'll put it in her bank for me. So I know it's there, but I just kind of forget about it when it's there, so I know I don't spend it. If I can get a room for the night, I try to get over, and get one and take a nice hot shower before I leave, relax in the bed, watch some TV.
A little warmth in a place that can feel so cold. I'm John Cercio reporting for Mornings on the Hill.
We're starting to see some summer temperatures here on the Hill.
Annalisa Pardo is live on University Ave with an update on this week's forecast.
Thanks, Jamie and Mariana. You're right, it's definitely starting to feel like summer over here on the hill. Today it's 58 degrees out right now, but should warm up throughout the day, hitting a high of 68 degrees. And the clouds have already started to clear, but you can still expect some cloudy skies for the rest of the day. And here's a look into the forecast for the next 5 days. Thursday, it's really going to heat up. We're going to see a high of 83 degrees. And Friday, good news for all of you participating in Mayfest, because it's going to be 71 degrees on Friday. We will see a few showers closer to the nighttime and later in the evening, so make sure you bring a rain jacket for later in the day. And then heading back into the weekend, we have 60s for Saturday and Sunday with some rain on Sunday night. And then Monday, it'll heat up again a little bit until to 74 degrees. And that is your final forecast for this semester. Reporting live from our Mornings on the Hill, I'm Annalisa Pardo.
About 50 SU students gathered last night to talk about the relationship between Asian Americans and international Asian students on campus.
The event is part of the celebration of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month at SU, and also featured traditional arts like Japanese calligraphy and Chinese knotting. Organizer Cullen Stubbs says when international students arrive on campus, they instinctively stick together.
One of the issues is, though, when you already start with an international student orientation, you're already clumping this one group who already have a lot in common and who might not break off from each other. You're already just clumping them together, and you're already starting this process of, all right, well, we are an other, I guess, on campus.
Stubbs says having this kind of event is a good way to start the integration between Americans and international students. He also encourages international students to participate more in student groups or programs such as Mix It Up and the mentoring program at the Slutzker Center.
In life, there are moments that test you or make you question why something happened.
For some, the question becomes, how do you stay positive when so much negativity enters your life?
Jamie, you had the opportunity to sit down with a young woman whose life has been, questioned or challenged time and time again.
Well, Mariana, through every experience, Catherine Frega has always stayed positive. Here's her story.
It's that time of year when college is on most high schoolers' minds. A dream that was slipping out of reach for Catherine Frega.
They gave me a chest x-ray, and there it was, a tumor the size of what they say is a football in my chest.
The diagnosis? Cancer. At age 17, Catherine's life was put on hold, her family battling the illness alongside her.
We were working towards she was getting in remission, and then she got sick again. Each day it was like a countdown to Syracuse. And it wasn't happening. Each day it was like, oh, we're not going to make it. She was getting sicker and sicker, and it was just really, really hard.
For 2.5 years, Catherine's life was hospital rooms and cancer treatments. Just 2 days before move-in at Syracuse University, Catherine's doctor finally gave her the okay to go to college. And that's when Catherine began to thrive. But at the same time, her father's health started to decline.
He never got over that initial diet, her being sick. He never got over that. Even though she was doing well, she was successful at school, he never got over it.
Her father committed suicide. Catherine never got the chance to say goodbye.
My last memory was really positive, fortunately. He was so happy and joking, and I don't have that part of my life anymore like that. Just realizing how involved he was and how much he cared. I feel empty.
What kept you going when you had so many hardships?
Because I use those sad points as inspiration.
To pursue a medical career.
There is so much to look forward to. I've only lived so short of my life, and there's so much that I want to accomplish, and I want to make other people's lives better.
But before she could do that, Catherine and her siblings had to overcome the loss of their dad.
We cremated my father, and I have a vial of his ashes. All my siblings have a vial of his ashes, and I thought that I was going to spread them, but I never did. I kept them. And now I bring my dad with me. My dad has kind of been a person who has always made me believe that I should set goals really high and reach them. And like throughout my cancer diagnosis and throughout my treatment, it was like, Catherine, you got to get better so that you can do this. You got to get better so you can do that. And having him push me kind of helped me.
And her father will continue to help her, pushing Catherine to become a doctor for the next kid whose illness impacts their ability to go to college.
Well, Mariana, I also talked to Catherine and I said to her, what would your dad say if he's seen all the incredible things you've done? And her response was, she'd say, you're great, but you could keep going forward and keep doing more. So her dad is definitely a huge inspiration in her life.
Well, that's a very inspiring story. Thank you, Jamie.
Of course. Well, coming up on Mornings on the Hill, if you're looking for something new to read this fall, you're in luck. We'll tell you about a new magazine coming this fall to campus.
And the Syracuse Chiefs have rebounded from a slow start to the season. We'll have that story next.
Welcome back. I'm Jamie Weiss.
And I'm Mariana Dominguez. A quick recap of our top story now.
More than 300 Syracuse women spent the day learning about entrepreneurship. It was the 15th annual WISE Symposium.
The keynote speaker of the event was the first woman to ever run the Boston Marathon.
A veteran comes home from the battlefield only to discover more tragedy.
After a major loss sets him back, Ted Bowers struggled to make ends meet.
But right as he began to give up, a random act of kindness from a stranger changed his outlook on life.
Morning on the Hill's Kristen Edwards has more.
Living in a tiny home as a not-so-tiny man comes with a unique set of challenges. But for Ted, living in a cramped space, that's the least of his worries.
The problem was my
10 years in the Army had taken its toll.
My post-traumatic stress disorder or my depression.
Ted couldn't leave combat on the battlefield, nor could he go home when both parents died. And now, his commanding officer was asking him to do the unthinkable.
He would pick the best soldiers to be in honor guard for 2 weeks, and we would do funeral details.
Locked in the darkness of his mind, Ted felt alone, especially in his new neighborhood.
You feel alienated from the people around you, you don't feel connected, a little bit like your life's in danger, and you could disappear from the planet Earth and nobody would notice.
Ted lived in poverty, with only his dog Cuddles and cat Tiger to keep him company.
No, I don't think people should have a pet or a dog or a cat unless they treat them like family.
So the pain was unbearable when his best friend was targeted by neighborhood drug dealers.
They thought that I would talk to him and it was a message, rat him out.
He found himself in another war zone, but this time with no one on his side.
It's okay,
So he dreamed of riding away from his nightmares and found others who would help him. Andrew
Get him out of the woodwork, yeah.
built him a tiny home to pull him out of danger.
On the near west side of the city, it was just really unsafe. Gunshots every single night, multiple killings on that same block in 1 year.
He saw something in the homeless veteran
That was fun, yeah.
that most just don't see.
Would you like free lunch? Okay, nice to see you.
A generous man with a Friday afternoon ritual.
Would you like free lunch?
Or how about a cheap ride? He's now healthy enough that people are paying him for a ride on his bike taxi.
Riding a bicycle pushes you into the present, which is happier than maybe the past was. It's hard to ride a bicycle and let depressing thoughts enter your mind.
And soon, Ted was welcomed by the community on the corner of Salina and East Glen Avenue.
I knew that when he got in there, he was going to become sort of a fixture in that neighborhood for positive reasons. And that's happened. That's absolutely happened.
But the real secret to his contagious smile is his support system.
I'm thankful because I got the respect of Andrew and a few other people. And my cat loves me, obviously.
Proving sometimes you can ride away from trouble with a lot of help from your friends.
I'm Kristen Edwards reporting for Mornings on the Hill.
Students at SU will see a new magazine in the fall titled University Girl.
Our own Sarah Minkowitz is live in the studio with Taylor Bradford, the creator of the magazine. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, you guys, and good morning, Taylor. Thank you for coming and sitting down with us today. So I guess to start off, what made you decide to start your own magazine?
Well, I saw that in the market there really wasn't a magazine targeted toward college girls. So there's Teen Vogue, which is a bit too young, and Cosmo, which is a bit too old. And I just kind of wanted to create something that was relatable to our demographic.
And what type of content can people expect to see in your magazine?
Yeah, so right now we have 4 verticals. So there's a style vertical that talks about campus fashion and not really like runway fashion, so it's very relatable. In fact, we just did an article with Urban Outfitters in Armory Square, so that was really cool. We had like a whole photo shoot with them. We brought some stylists and a photographer. There's an article going on the site today at universitygirlsu.com. We have a feel good section, which is all about health and fitness, a college life section, obviously about life at Syracuse, and we just published our first abroad article. And then we have a U Girls section, which is all about featuring girls on campus who are doing really cool things.
Okay, and how do you manage to kind of fit all this in? I know you're a student, so deciding to launch this magazine, where do you find the time?
It was definitely a lot, some sleepless nights, of course, but I definitely have a very great team behind me who has helped make this ride very smooth.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Back to Connor for sports.
Thank you, Sarah. Four countries, one sport. Our own Jackie Mundry has a report on the Syracuse water polo team.
4 countries, 1 sport.
I fell in love with it.
Water polo, that is. Jess Hume got into the sport about 8 years ago because she was already a swimmer.
Everyone in Australia swims, so I'm like living by the beach, like it was just a huge part of growing up, and I really liked it.
She liked it for many reasons, but most importantly,
it's quiet. When you swim, it's super loud above water, but it's really like only you swimming. It's really calming.
Not only does she love the sport, but her captains and coaches say she's an asset to the team.
There's a lot of girls on the team who are a mixture of levels, so she has a lot of experience and she's taken initiative, showing what she can do, and she's really taught the other girls and helped out the team to bring us many wins.
Much of her experience has come from playing overseas in Australia, where she grew up, as well as Italy last year.
So every coach has a different style, and especially since she's had international coaches, they all do it a little bit differently, so all of that experience has brought it to our team.
I love it. I love to travel. I love to see new places.
And her experience was a big selling point for her joining the SU team.
When I was looking for players and I was recruiting, I worked really, really hard to get players who knew what they were doing or who had at least been on a swim team before.
Despite being recruited to Division I schools like the University of Toronto, Jess decided that Syracuse was the right option for her for the academic reputation.
I got interested in medicine and public health in high school, and that's part of why I came to Syracuse, because they have a really good public health program.
The next stop on Jess's journey, Africa.
Studying in Africa, that kind of ties it all together. I can play water polo there. I can really see, because I want to concentrate my work in Africa.
Although her team will miss her, she's excited for the next chapter. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Jackie Mundry.
Thanks, Jackie. In baseball, the Syracuse Chiefs are red hot. Over the weekend, I had a chance to watch the team in action, and boy, did they impress.
Sunday was a beautiful day to take in America's pastime. The Chiefs took on the visiting Norfolk Tides, and Syracuse second baseman Corbin Joseph put on a show. With the Chiefs already up 4-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning, Joseph recorded his second RBI of the game on a deep sacrifice fly. Chiefs outfielder Brian Goodwin scored on the play to put Syracuse up 5-0 over Norfolk. In the bottom of the 8th inning, with the Chiefs up 7-2, third baseman Adrian Sanchez hit a ball deep to center. That one stayed up in the air for a long time and was far enough to score another Chiefs run. This time, Joseph crossed the plate to put Syracuse up by 6. The final score in this one was 8-2 Syracuse. With the win, the Chiefs swept the Tides and improved their win streak to 6 games in a row. Post-game, Joseph attributed the team's success to their experience.
We've got a lot of older guys, and we know when to really crank that intensity
obviously level up and bring it to the next level. And I think, after losing the first couple, we all kind of, checked ourselves in the mirror and tried to, play the game a little harder, run balls out, try and, get things to fall our way. And
Joseph finished Sunday's game with a single, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Since Sunday, the Chiefs' win streak has unfortunately come to an end. The team lost yesterday on the road to the Durham Bulls 4-3. Despite the defeat, the team has won 6 of 7, so not too shabby. In lacrosse news, both the Syracuse men's and women's teams begin play in their respective ACC tournaments Friday. The number 1 ranked men take on defending NCAA champion North Carolina Friday at 6 in the tournament semifinal. History is on Syracuse's side. The Oranges won the last 2 ACC tournaments. The SU women are ranked 5th in the country and are the second seed in their ACC tournament. Gary Gates' team plays 7th-seeded Virginia Tech Friday evening. And finally, per multiple reports, the Seahawks and Raiders have agreed to trade the contract terms so that Oakland can acquire running back Marshawn Lynch. That's it for sports. Reporting for Mornings on the Hill, I'm Connor Morissette.
This Friday, Walnut Park will be completely taken over as Mayfest returns, headlined by Chicago rapper Vic Mensa and DJ Trio Cheat Codes.
The annual concert begins at 1 o'clock and brings Syracuse students together before finals begin. There is free food and drinks, and for those attending, those students above 21 can enjoy 3 free beers if they enter between 1 and 3 o'clock, and 2 beers if entering after 3. Entry to Mayfest is free for SU students, so you must bring your ID to enter.
Tickets for guests of Syracuse students can be purchased for $23, but the guests must also bring a valid college ID. With Mayfest beginning early for some, University Union wants everyone to remember that it's a long day and pacing yourself is not the worst idea.
It really is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a long day, especially if there's any freshmen watching. You want to be able to go to all these events because it's cool to say, oh, I got to see all these huge artists and for so cheap. I mean, we're bringing 3 artists for between $20 and $25, which is an awesome price. And you might not be able to see them again.
University Union also wants to remind those with cars that parking will be limited around Walnut Avenue due to setup. The parking lanes on Walnut Avenue and Waverly Avenue will be limited until Sunday when Mayfest has been cleared. So this is our last morning show this semester and our entire team is joining us now.
We've had a lot of fun and we want to thank our directors, Roxanne and Brian, our professors, and everyone else behind the scenes.
Our team is getting ready to graduate and leave Newhouse and SU, so we want to open it up to you guys. What do you have planned?
Well, I know for at least myself, Fatima, and then sadly our injured friend Brittany, we will be moving to Buffalo, where we will be reporting and producing, which is going to be an incredible time. So that's going to be great, and all thanks to Professor National and everything done here and what we've done in the Hill. So it's been, obviously this has helped this has obviously helped an incredible amount for that as well.
That's incredible.
So, and the grad students are also doing some things, so Jackie, go ahead.
Yeah, so a few of us are grad students here. So we're here in Syracuse till July, and then we're going to head off to our capstones. A lot of us are heading to DC. Some of us are doing some sports capstones. So we have a lot going on as well.
And I know that's not all. We've also got some travels going on too. But that's it for our final episode of Mornings on the Hill. We want to congratulate the class of 2017.
Good luck on your finals, and we'll see you at commencement.